Hello, welcome to Three at the Back. After a couple of weeks out, we've come back after an absolutely belting game last night. It's myself, Jide, and Liam here. Guys, are we all right?
A bit tired. I've done like 100,000 steps over the past 4 days. Literally. I'm all right.
Good. Liam, you're all good?
Yeah, pretty good. Sun's out, in the office.
Sun's out in the office, the Liam Henry story. But yeah, I guess we'll get stuck into it straight away. I think a game that will go down for generations, to be honest. Europa League final, Man United won, Villarreal won. Villarreal winning 11-10 on penalties. I was going to say interesting game, but it wasn't, was it? Let's be honest. I'll go to you first, Liam. What is your initial takeout from the game, and like, how did you find United's performance and how Villarreal did?
This is a bit of context. So I came home from work, did what I need to do, cook dinner, sorted all that out. And then I was like, right, come on here, I'll put the build-up on. Watch the whole build-up. 30 seconds in, I fell asleep. I woke up about 35 in. And then just from then on and kind of was like, this is a bit gutting. Yeah. Man United went behind. That's not surprising. What is surprising is that they didn't really make their dominance pay in the second half, as much as a great goal by Cavani. But naturally rooting for the underdog, which was Villarreal. It's always funny to see one of your opponents, take one on the nose, which is what you did last night. But the game was thoroughly forgettable. The penalty shootout, some crackers, but I think the whole thing seemed inevitable, and obviously working backwards, but you could see it happening, couldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Jide, what did you make of the game?
Notes on a similar theme to Liam. Gonna be honest, I switched it on. I forgot they were playing because what is that? And then I turned it on about 60 minutes in, and I watched for 15 minutes, and I went and played FIFA.
Fair.
Because Volta exists now, and that's fun. I don't know. I don't know anyone on the Villarreal team, and man, you were really bad. I don't know.
I mean, that's probably the best summary I've heard, to be honest. To be fair, the thing that kept making me laugh in the sort of commentary and the punditry was just Paul Scholes just had this stat about Villarreal, that the fact that there's 50,000 people in the town, and just kept saying it, no matter what context. He was just saying, even when he was talking about how United need to improve, he's like, yeah, but Villarreal, a town with 50,000 people,
like it's a country. They can only pick people from the surrounding villages outside of Villarreal. Right?
But yeah, in terms of the game, I'm not surprised United had a crap first half. It's been like that for most of the season, right? Villarreal were defensively solid, like they were against Arsenal. They've got Raul Albiol, who, like Liam, you've alluded to before, didn't know he existed still.
Oh, that is fun.
Yeah. And he's playing alongside Pau Torres, who's really highly thought of. He's like 23, 24. Feels like a football manager. I was going to say, it feels like a football manager, darling, right?
Mm.
Yeah, so they were solid at the back, and Danny Parejo and Etienne Capoue were really solid in midfield. But yeah, and United went with probably what would be their most attacking setup, with Pogba and McTominay as the sitting two, because they didn't really sit. And it just didn't really click. I think, you have those games where maybe it all gets a bit much and you're not making the right decisions and stuff. My bigger concern was just how they didn't try to change anything. It was just try and get the ball down the flanks, try and get Shaw to whip it in, hope that Cavani's on the end of it, and that was about it. There wasn't really anything else that was screaming out. I know Bruno Fernandes didn't have a great game. Rashford had a stinker, to be honest. His first touch was a bit all over the place. But yeah, it was just the fact that Ollie didn't make his first sub until I think it was 103rd minute or something. And Yeah, and by this point, Villarreal had made 6 subs. Well, sorry, no, 5 subs, and then this is the thing, like Liam, like you were alluding to, they were just slowly. The momentum just slowly drifted off from United because, well, one, they just looked a bit demoralised; they couldn't break them down, and two, they were getting knackered, and the other team just brought on more players. Almost like genuinely, at some point, I thought Ollie had forgotten that he had substitutes.
To name subs.
Because there was a point where Rashford was just walking, and so was Greenwood on the other side, and Ollie's like, "No, we'll keep going." It's a real bad slight on what he thinks of the subs as well. Like, he just doesn't trust the bench. You know, you had 80 million quid's worth of players just from 2 of them with Diallo and obviously poor Donny, poor old Donny van der Beek. But yeah, I'm just really disappointed with. It's just the finer details, you know, like trying to just mix it up a bit. Like, you know, get Dan James on with half an hour to go because he can just, not that I'm the biggest fan of him, but, you know, he's got a lot of pace and he can get around the outside of the fullback. They had Liverpool's second choice fullback, you know, playing by then at Moreno, and he's not even first choice of Villarreal. Like, just test him with pace, like just try something different. And he just almost like he just got scared to do anything. And then, really interestingly, I was reading about the penalty shootout, and United actually won the toss for the penalty shootout, and Bruno went, "We'll go second," which is pretty mind blowing. And apparently, the ref went, "Are you sure?" And then, like, they asked Ollie about it in a press conference, and he was like, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. I just left Bruno to it." And it's those finer details. I think if you have a really top end manager who's experienced this stuff, you drum those key little details at the time. Like, you know, we go first in penalty shootouts. We do this, we do that. You know, he even admitted that he knew that De Gea hasn't saved. He knew about the stats about De Gea not saving penalties for 6 years or something silly. And he didn't want to make the change for Dean Henderson, who's had 50% of his penalties missed or saved in the past 2 years. Like, you know, there's managers with a bit more experience might have been more confident to make that decision. But yeah, I think Ollie looked a bit lost by the end. And, you know, Unai Emery's won this Europa League now, 4 times, I think? You know, he knows how to win European trophies. And he's obviously a very good manager. It didn't work out at Arsenal, but that was more of a language issue than anything else. Yeah, so I think it's frustrating, but like you said, Liam, the standard of the penalties, you got to remember, Villarreal didn't miss a penalty and it was 11-10.
They didn't miss a penalty, and they didn't look like they were going to miss a penalty, despite what, you know, Savage claiming every other penalty. Oh, this one's the one that's going to lose it for them. And, you know, and literally before Dan James is one screaming, "Come on, Wales." And you think, and then by that point, and people like Jake Comfrey and all the pundits at the time, he's back. All the pundits at the time going like, "Oh yeah, well most of the country's going to be behind the English team." It's like, do you guys not know how this country works? like absolutely no. Like that was annoying me. Like as a side note of the whole thing, the fact that they just assumed that it was the arrogance of it all. Do you not think? Like, yeah. I'm not saying the players were like that. But it feels as if like Solskjaer was like, yeah, you know, these guys can do it. You know, before the game, he was like, oh, you know, I got married on the 26th. We won our Champions League on the 26th of May. It's like, well, yeah, this is when the finals happen. Like, this is what happened. All major finals are played in May. Like, and it was just one of those like, oh, we can't lose. Yeah.
I just looked at the squad list, like for Villarreal. Apparently, Juan Foyth was playing at right back.
Yep,
that's embarrassing. That's
Slide note on Juan Foyth, and I said this to Liam last night. Really put me on edge. He wears number 8. Why is he centre back right back wearing number 8? That really annoyed me. Again.
And he was Terry butchered up from like the 8th minute.
Good. Yeah, he got kneed in the head by Pogba, and yeah, so he basically was Juan Foyth without any sort. Probably, let's be honest, he was probably mildly concussed because the way that impact on his head, it probably would have brought out the comedy birds floating around his head, to be honest. But
and what he went down as well was, so him and Etienne Capoue, they go down as the 88th and the 89th trophy winners since leaving Spurs. Yet Juan Foyth has to go back to Spurs next year. Like,
wonderful.
but it's kind of good though. You have a player that can
Championship experience. So.
has a bit of noose and maybe could do good again. But Man United it was just a complete different structures going in. It's just such like a classic tale of two completely different teams, wasn't it?
Yeah,
individual brilliance versus cohesive unity and just really battling and just keeping it tight and not taking any risks.
No, it was coach against vibes, wasn't it?
Yeah,
big vibes, baby. I'm vibing all summer. Let's get Ollie down. I'm in. Ollie, come on the show. Ollie, come on the show.
You are right, Liam. Like the reliance, and you made this point as well when we were talking about yesterday. Like the reliance on individual performances, even like Rio was alluding to it in the build up and as a pundit, it's not normal at that level, is it? You need a tactical style of play, and that's exactly what Villarreal had, wasn't it? There was, there's a reason why they conceded. United conceded so many goals from set pieces. Victor Lindelof had a striker that's broken the scoring record for Villarreal this season behind him, and Lindelof went, I'll just keep running straight. I'll be fine. I won't try and block. I won't try and block him off, or I won't, just try and get into him or anything. And then Moreno, very cleverly did a little nudge to give himself some space, put it in the bottom corner. Little things like that Ollie just gets found out at the highest level, where individual brilliance isn't the be all and end all in a way.
It can be the difference, but you need to have an actual structure to go with it. Oh, I don't know. It was so frustrating, like watching, and I'll be fair here. Like when I was watching the reffing of it, the ref let the game flow quite a lot. He didn't really give too many of the sort of niggly fouls you might expect to be given. I think maybe Man United were a bit put out by that, so they didn't get their rub of the green, which I think it might have slightly favoured Villarreal in a way, but I think you were just clear to see everyone watching it. Like the game was, even though he was going out wide to Luke Shaw was getting the crosses in, none of them, they defended so well. They needed more, as you were saying earlier, you needed Dan James to come on, and even though he's not the best player, come on, go out wide. With Greenwood and Rashford, they're always looking to come in and fill up the space that Cavani's in. And Cavani, I don't mean funny, Greenwood, he could become the real deal, but this is Cavani. Don't get in his way. The man had what they would say, 0.1 XG chance, and it basically went in. And I think you need actual wide players, not soon to be half forwards kind of thing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And the thing was as well, just players with the Dan James example, it's just players taking up different spaces just to get people thinking a bit differently.
Exactly.
And just even like bringing Wamata on, or just to change the style of play a bit, or just to push someone a bit inside or a bit outside, and they just didn't do anything. It was, and as I said to you as well, Liam, Cavani was United's second best midfielder last night. He was genuinely, his stamina was incredible. There's a couple of times he was back in holding midfield, winning the ball back. I mean, Cavani was trying to lead by example, and just a few of the other players, I wouldn't say bottled it, but they just didn't have the winning mentality that was needed. Yeah, it's happened, right? It's all a laugh. Who wanted Europa League anyway? Hey,
certainly not the players when they took off their medals.
I was surprised. Ollie let Van der Beek go up and get a medal. He's not letting him do anything else, is he?
Oh my god!
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. In terms of United going into next season, what do you guys think they need to do? Do you think they're close? Okay, so you think it's manager?
I think the talent is there. I don't think you can deny that. I think interestingly, Ollie. Everyone comes away with it from this a bit better. Ollie has proved that he's really good at certain things. He has a skill set. There's definitely something there. And I thought he just managed, what team did he manage in Wales? And someone in Norway?
Cardiff and Mulder.
Yeah. I thought he just managed them in leagues that don't matter. But like he's proved he can do something. It's just he's not. I'm not sure he will ever be ready for United, but like he definitely isn't now.
Yeah.
And a change needs to be made.
That squad could do so much better. Like, yeah, they're showing bits of progress from, like, I think it was 6th to 4th and then 2nd, or 3rd and then 2nd. But they're never going to be as good as they can be.
Undoubtedly.
With him as the manager, they need something else.
I think you're right. I think to be fair, when in hindsight, when he came in, I was very skeptical, obviously, because you look at a bloke who's, he got the job because he scored a tap in the 93rd minute in Barcelona. Like, it's not, there was nothing managerial wise that told you that he was going to do a good job, but he completely changed the mentality of the club. They're all in good spirits. Like,
he really did change the vibes. Like,
he did. I know we've joked about it, but from everything you see, he has had a positive impact compared to the doldrums that Mourinho had left them in. But it feels like now there is a limitation being reached. There's a reason why they got knocked out in the group stages in the Champions League when they only needed a point in the last 2 games. It was because Solskjaer made, again, those intricate moments, he made the wrong decision. Fred was on the yellow card against PSG, made a couple of terrible challenges, could have been sent off. He still didn't take him off and just, go, look, we just need to put someone else in there that isn't going to lose their head. Two minutes later, Fred goes off. PSG scored 2 goals. They win 3-0. And then he just got his tactics completely wrong against RB Leipzig. Didn't even try and defend, which was, that was mind-blowing. But I think it's those sort of moments which make you realise that he's done good bits, like you said, today, but it's just not. He's not got enough to.
That he'd be a great assistant manager, like a link between the players and like an actual tactician. He's just not it. He's not the answer to this particular problem.
And in terms of players, who do you think there's anyone that stands out that they should try and get? Or
Harry Kane? I don't know. I don't know if anyone's talked about it, but Harry Kane seems a little bit unhappy at Spurs. And a load of people might need an actual forward who isn't 52 years old, as good as Cavani is.
It's not a bad shout. Liam, what do you reckon?
I think they need to maybe stop looking just to buy things and actually have a bit of structural sort of change. Like, I don't know if they do buy it. Do they need to buy like a world star? They've got some pretty big stars. Well, would-be stars there at the moment.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, and you got to think about it. Like, title-winning squads are a mixture of stars and players that do the graft that the stars they need to do. Right. The only thing that I think they need to spend a considerable bit more money on is a right winger. I do think they need to spend it because the problem is Wan-Bissaka is a tremendous defender. But as soon as you get into that attacking third, he does look a bit lost and just whacks it.
Right. I could win United the title now, right? You get Antonio Conte in, yeah.
Okay.
Victor Moses, job done. It literally could be that simple. Like, it's just the small little things, utilising the quality players that Man United have. McTominay was quality last night. I think he's going to be a good player. Pogba obviously is world class. Like, but I think he needs to have. It doesn't really grab too many games off the neck like he could.
How is that defense actually doing? Is the only question. Those centre backs. That's the question I'd ask.
I know we've laughed at Maguire. I think I think if you put the right centre back next to him, I think they genuinely could be a title winning, back four, because Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in the country.
Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, I've got faith in. I'm just about the centre backs. Yeah.
And
do you not think it can be coached though? It can be coached a lot easier than say a top striker can be.
No, you're absolutely right. And and Conte is very much of the defensive mindset and counter-attack your way to the title, which he's done in numerous countries, and you could easily do that with United. I mean, there are suggestions that Rafael Varane is who they want. I mean, put him next to Maguire. I think that'd be very, very solid. But at the same
That's
time,
an
it's
incredible shout.
yeah, and it seems to be there's quite a few links to him, which would be amazing. And he's very good on the ball. He doesn't have the mistake in him like Lindelof does. He has more nous. He's a World Cup winner, all that sort of thing. And
A pretty natural cover as well.
Yeah, so I think like that if they got someone like that in, I think it really could make the difference. But there is still limitations with Solskjaer. I think that's where we've got to, right? You can add as many players as you want, but if the manager isn't tactically astute enough at the highest level, it's going to get found out every time, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. And obviously they were runners up in the Premier League, and I think we should probably have a run through of the Premier League, which, crazy enough, did actually only finish about 4 days ago, even though it feels like it finished about half a year ago. Top four, obviously City were winners by about 13, 14 points. United second. Liverpool ended up finishing third. And Chelsea tried their best to not finish in the Champions League spots against Villa. In terms of Chelsea's season, Liam, I know obviously the final on Saturday. What are your overriding thoughts?
Yeah, quite positive. I'd say, if you can compare it. So obviously we've got Tuchel in charge now. Lampard didn't work out. Inexperienced manager. Probably not tactically gifted. Hasn't sort of earned his stripes anyway yet. And they've got rid of him and they've changed it. And that's where I think you see the parallels between the progress in which Man United and Chelsea are doing at the same time. It's going in the right direction, but you'd think you'd have a bit more faith in the management styles of Thomas Tuchel than you would in Ole Solskjaer. So I think it's quite positive. You started the season, I genuinely thought we could be challengers. The two German lads, Havertz and Werner, didn't hit the ground running. And you can't always expect them to, but it's not been awful seasons for them, but it's not been like they won't remember them with any great fondness. So I think it looks good. I think, we did our best to not finishing it at the end by sort of losing to Arsenal. Luckily, we beat Leicester, and then Aston Villa, who are coming into a really good bit of form, got Jack Grealish back. And, to be fairness, Villa were deserved winners at the day, but luckily we scraped in at the last moment. Although did get leapfrogged by Liverpool.
It's crazy, isn't it? Where Liverpool were about 2 months ago, and they've managed to end up finishing. Obviously, the points total isn't that high, but managed to finish third after they were. They lost 6 at home on the bounce. It was something stupid like that.
Yeah, and that only ended in March. That poor run, and
it's crazy. Do you know, from a Spurs perspective, finishing 7th, the first ever English team to enter the Europa League conference. It's been a crazy season for Spurs, hasn't it? You were top of the table in October.
Yeah. Cool. No, that's how I feel about the Europa League conference.
Oh, right, fair.
Again, end of the season, if you're in North London, you know that the only thing that matters, really, because none of us are contenders, is finishing above that other team. And we did. And I was overjoyed. I spent the day in an Arsenal pub. And I watched all their sad little faces. It was fantastic. I think next season can only be better. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty happy right now. I'm pretty happy.
What do you obviously it's going to be a summer of quite a lot of uncertainty for Spurs, right? With Kane saying he wants to leave, he had that hour-long walk around a golf course with Gary Neville, spoke about how he wanted to leave. He had emotional farewell at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, then he had the long hugs with Dele and Son after the Leicester win. What do you think the position is from a Spurs fan perspective with him? Do you think you'd be happy?
I think everyone thinks he's done his time.
Right.
Frankly. He deserves to go and win something. This is a bit ridiculous. Take the money and stop holding the boy hostage. It's not cool. That's how I feel, and that's how most people I've spoken to feel. Honestly,
And I guess obviously, I mean, you'll get a chunk of cash in as well, right? So you can reinvest that hopefully and stuff.
I keep saying play Troy Parrott. We've been saying it for a while. He's actually really great from what I've seen. Play him. We can also get another striker in. It'll be fine. We've got options. We just need to make sure we invest properly. Get a good manager in. Not someone living on past glory. Yeah.
What you said before as well when we spoke about this was the fact that now, if Harry Kane goes, you can actually get some pretty good strikers in that wouldn't otherwise go there because they know that if Harry Kane's even half fit, he's playing all the games. So now, like, if he goes and you get a bit of money, then a few, like, you know, good but maybe down on their luck, but no, still even just good strikers could probably get there. Do you think? Like, you were saying, like, you know, it opens up a lot more avenues for strikers to actually get some football in, and like I said, Troy Parrott, but you could get some real talent in.
I was going to say you could fully say, like, to a good European striker, like good Champions League level striker, that you will play 3/4 of the games, and we'll try and bed in Troy Parrott, or could even play someone next to Troy Parrott. The options are like sort of endless if you get rid of Harry Kane. Who wants to go?
Yeah, you could change the whole style, I suppose, couldn't you?
Definitely. It'd be interesting to see how they do next season. We'll talk about the manager situation in a bit when we go to Liam's merry-go-round, which I'm looking forward to.
Oh, just remember the thing. I did want to talk about like that beautiful set-piece goal by Aston Villa.
Oh, yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Speaking of people with systems.
It was such a good set piece, and it was weirdly finished so poorly, but which made it actually perfect.
More aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
It was such a limp shot.
I'd be able to fully applaud it if we didn't possibly mean that goal was the reason that we have Kepa in the Champions League final. That's the only reason why. And also, I love the fact that Bertrand Traore, you know, just like scores it and then goes, you know, because he played like about 3 minutes for us about 7 years ago. I think, as the fans would call it, proper Chelsea.
Very courteous man, I've heard. Very courteous man.
Very courteous.
I really enjoy those proper training ground corners, because I think in those scenarios, the one who ends up having the shot, that's one of the most high pressure moments, I think, in any scenario in football. Because
like
it's got
the chance.
Yeah, because
it only works once.
Exactly. It only works once. Is what you've done every other step in the process to open up the space. So it must, when the ball actually comes to you, you must go, because you've now got 10 blokes turning around to you going, come on, mate, we've done everything here. You've got to make because we all know this is going to go down for generations if we get this right. So in your head, you must be like, shit. And then he does like what Bertrand Traore does. And so, I mean, he kicked it into his own foot and outside swerved it top bins.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful move. I've never seen so much space in the penalty box when it's got literally both teams in it.
Yeah, so good. It was so good.
Very.
Anyway, I wanted to take us back to that because it was excellent.
That was excellent. Let's quickly talk about the two teams that are in the Europa League that just finished above Spurs, Leicester and West Ham. Leicester, really interesting situation here because they've spent the last 2 seasons basically in the top 4 and missed out on the last game of the season both. How do you look at it? Because obviously people look at these things in different ways, right? I'd be interested to see what you two look at it, because, you know, everyone goes at the start of the season, you know, FA Cup, 5th place, would have bitten your hand off. But at the same time, you spent so long in 4th and then you just finished 5th. Does that make it a bad season? Does it, you know, which way do you two look at it?
Spursy.
Very Spursy, actually.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that because I feel like we deserve some revenge on Leicester. So cool, Spursy. That's it. That's all I've got.
Fair.
I thoroughly enjoyed the game.
Little bit of London solidarity here.
Exactly. Like, you know, they won the FA Cup, and I think, you know, you kind of go 5th. An FA Cup, you'd take that. Yep, you would. But also, you know, the whole thing of a season is without being a bit sad about it, it's a journey, isn't it? It's what happens along the way. Happiness isn't the destination. Yada yada. But you know what I mean? Like, so you don't just jump to that. You can't go, oh, we've got an FA Cup. That's fantastic. You win it. You're there for every game you win and or draw and get penalties. And it's today, that's a fantastic feeling. But also it is an absolute sucker punch to be that in the driving seat. And then both years tail off in the league. It's a bit Brendan Rodgers, isn't it? As it were. Like,
I just enjoyed getting to beat them and take that away from them, frankly.
It was the People's Club, Leicester.
Sense a little bit of irony in the tone of your voice.
But yeah, nice. They need to do better. They need to have a bit more of a. They're not mentality monsters. Is what like the Liverpool are. No, it's something they need to change. It's all progress. They should be in the Champions League, but at the end of the day, the table, you end up where you end up on the merits of the whole season.
Merits, yeah, exactly.
And I think, we have to say well done to West Ham. David Moyes taking that shambles of a club to sixth is massively impressive, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of managers that are reinvigorating their careers over the season. I keep knocking stuff out of my thing, so this is great. Someone else could say something.
Yeah, it's right. They like changing themselves, but I think it could all change when the fans are back. West Ham, they've been really good. If they'd have if they were pushing for the top four, but I think if you really want to sort of grow, you do it incrementally, don't you? You go up into the European, the lower ones, where you can actually maybe win a few games. You don't want to be plumped up against an absolutely all-destroying sort of Inter Milan. That'd be great for one night, but ideally you want a chance to win a few games as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. But back to your the managers reinventing themselves.
And yeah, their reputations are changing, and then Jose still exists, so football's a great place.
It's a good point. I mean, obviously Sam Allardyce did a terrible job of trying to maintain his reputation, to be honest, didn't he? But yeah, I mean, the interesting thing with West Ham is if they're going to be able to keep the key players, right? Declan Rice has got much better this season. He looks like he can control a Premier League midfield every week now, and obviously Lingard, you'd assume that they're going to try and buy him, but we don't know yet. We don't know if any other club's going to, be interested in him. And
Man U even want him back.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I don't know. With the lack of a better phrase, is there a duty of care in a way to let him go and enjoy his football after spending so long at United? He's only going to go back, and I can't see him starting in that team, especially when chances are they're going to go out and buy a Sancho or something like that. So
yeah,
it almost seems unfair on him to have such a great time and then to be brought back and just be told, yeah, you're going to play Carling Cup games.
Sit on the bench again.
Yeah. Problem is, West Ham. If West Ham, instead of loaning him, they tried to buy him in January, they could have gotten for 30 million or something. And there's no chance they'll be buying him for that now. Yeah, he might be I don't know. You don't know what he wants to do. He clearly got into that dressing room, really enjoying himself.
Well, how long has he got left on the contract? Is a interesting thought.
Yeah,
I think he might have 2 years.
Probably a couple of years. Yeah, it's quite a long thing, and it depends what he wants to do. Does he want to try and fight for his place? I mean, he didn't really get much of a sniff though, did he? Really, in the first half of the season.
Yeah, and he also had some issues outside of football as well, which I think
that's the past 2 years. Yeah, he's had that, hasn't he?
Yeah, which had a greater impact on him than maybe some other players. So because everyone just assumed that he just wasn't getting picked, and obviously it come out there were other issues at hand, which is understandable. Yeah, it'd be interesting West Ham to see what they do next season. Is this a one-off? Like you said, West Ham fans when they get back in the stadium, if things start going wrong, they're not a great crowd to play in front of, are they? Elsewhere in the league, I think we just have to obviously touch on Leeds, who finished above Everton at the end of the season. an incredible achievement with a team of predominantly, you could argue, championship players with a few sprinklings of Premier League talent. Just an impressive season, right, Jide?
Yep. Quality. They played really well. I'm trying to get figures up here because
get them numbers up.
They're just a bit. I at the beginning of the season, I was like, they're going to be fun to watch, but in my head, I was like, ultimately, they're going to be battling relegation. But they just kept it going. I know every pundit under the sun's been like, oh, they run out of steam. Carney got absolute pelters for it, didn't she?
Yeah.
But then finished on 4 wins.
Yeah. They had such like a good. Well, I think they had played like the least amount of games they've ever played for like 15 years, though.
Mm.
They went out the cup early doors. I've literally played about 40 games.
Yeah.
Still, so impressive. And Bamford actually got a few on target, which people weren't expecting. Like he's had like the best season of his career.
I'm pleased for Bamford. I'm very pleased for Bamford, to be fair, as well.
Because, the assumption was at the start of the season that when Rodrigo's a Spanish international, right? Like, when he came in, you presumed that Bamford was, might have been moving to a, top-level championship club again. And you see when Rodrigo gets his 20 minutes as sub, he does look very, very good. But you just can't take out Bamford at the moment, can you? Because everything he does is pressing and his style and play. Yeah, he's just very good at interlinking the whole system. But yeah, well done to Leeds, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next season. Obviously, they'll have some more money to spend, and just see how Bielsa does with another season.
Bielsa ball.
Yeah, and just see if they can keep it up. Will they get knackered next season, Liam? That's the question.
Well, why not? Yeah, why not, eh?
A couple more clubs I think we should touch on is, first one will be Crystal Palace. Roy's retirement and his long farewell for the last couple of weeks. Been a bit emotional, to be honest, hasn't it? Every time you see him, he's getting hugs, he's getting applauded.
Oh, he seems like a lovely bloke, like an absolutely lovely bloke. I just don't know why we all care so much or pretend to care about his exploits in the Dutch second league or whether he was managing in the 80s. He's cool. It's very cool to have an apparently sophisticated man in the older ranks of English football management, but he's gone. He hasn't done much in a while. It's fine. We'll be all right.
I think it's just probably the only thing is just nice that he has done all right, and it's not got anyone relegated, because Liverpool and England did him no favours, did they? After but seems like a nice bloke, doesn't he?
He seems lovely. I wouldn't mind my nan dating him. He's great.
And also he's like a Crystal Palace fan as well, isn't he? He was watching them back in the 60s or something, and you think it's quite nice. It's all a bit full circle. Nice little story.
Lovely narrative, isn't it, Adam?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Narrative.
Oh, it's beautiful. As a narrative goes, that is beautiful, to be fair. And the other interesting thing on Palace's side, obviously, not just that they're going to need to replace manager, they're going to need to replace about half their squad, because they've got 12, I think it is. Is it 12 players out of contract now? And there's some pretty important players.
To sign on.
Oh, have they?
I think they have. In the past couple of days, they've been getting them to sign.
Right.
Seemingly, it could be a pretty revolutionary move in football to just let a load of players go out of contract in such a way. Depending on how they decide to transition from this.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting new set of thoughts. Do you just let a load of people go if you've been in sort of mid-table obscurity for a long time? But yeah, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's a shame. Eze's torn his Achilles, so he's going to be out until February next year, which is a bit of a shame because he was just starting to take it up to a level and working really well with Zaha. So that's a bit of a shame for him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they bring in, because obviously the manager that brings in will completely affect the types of players that they bring in. Right, you like I said, you've got almost a blank canvas here with, say, 7 to 8 players that they need in the squad, and the manager's is very, very rarely going to get this opportunity at a Premier League club, aren't you?
I was going to say, and we like not to trample over Liam's managerial memory around again, but people are only really thinking about one job in England, and this is like a pretty enticing job for a load of people, I'd imagine. Like you get basically a clean slate.
I also think you get quite a lot of, you know what I mean? Like Palace fans don't really seem to demand the world. Like some clubs,
you can play however you want.
Yeah, as long as you you don't get you don't fall too far down the table. I think from what I've seen with a few Palace accounts I follow on Twitter is that they want a bit more excitement. So they wanted Roy out because it's very, meat and 2 veg football. It's going to do the job with, Zaha pulling the odd brilliant thing out. But like you say, clean slate, like no manager. So new manager with, clear out all the players like you were saying. It's something exciting could happen. Something catastrophic could happen. That's the gamble they're probably going to take.
To Crystal Palace, please.
Oh no,
Palace, please.
That doesn't end well for anyone, does it? That's the problem.
Well, Lampard will be a key stakeholder in our managerial merry-go-round.
He won't be.
I actually quite like Crystal Palace, and I don't want to see bad things happen to them. But watching Frank Lampard fail is exciting.
The final one I thought would be quite nice to touch on because we don't really speak about them because they're sort of there in mid-table and they've actually done quite a good job. Is Wolves. Obviously, they huge loss with Raul Jimenez with his facial injury that's taken him out for most of the season. Hopefully, he'll be back for the start of next season. He's such a pinnacle for them, and you can tell that they've really missed him. And obviously, Jota's gone as well. But what do you make of Wolves this season, Liam? And do you think that there's steps for improvement, or do you think they're just going to be one of these sort of 10 to 14 position mid-table clubs for the next few years?
I think next year with the new manager, if it isn't sort of amazing, I think if they did the same that they've done this year, I think it would be a result. I think the thing is for them to not sort of drop back down to being, a championship, and not too long ago they're in League One, weren't they? So the idea is to sort of they've solidified themselves, they've stabilised. With a new manager, can they keep that stability and maybe push on? They've got some expensive players. They sold Jota and lost Jimenez. Obviously he'll come back, but I think it depends on who they get. And I personally cannot see it. I know they're basically sort of ran by the super agent George Mendes. So it really is about who he decides, or who he and the owners decide who becomes manager. So, but I couldn't even speculate. I have no idea on who's in that man's books. Or I think they got the players to do it. Moutinho's not getting young. Neves has been linked with Manchester United. I think they've got to keep hold of their players and get an inspirational manager in, because I think they need to. So I actually disagree. I think it's been a poor year for Wolves.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say I expected really big things from them this year. I think there's a lot of talent in that squad. And I think Nuno was actually, again, speaking about managers with actual plans and actual styles and understanding the intricacy of football and his players' specific talents and abilities, he did a pretty good job. So I was expecting a bit more from them. I think, again, with Liam saying, we have no idea who's going to end up in that job, I think there's a real platform for progress there, honestly.
I completely agree. And that segues beautifully today, thank you very much, onto Liam's manager merry-go-round. Liam, the floor is yours.
So who we know is gone across Europe. We've got a bit of paper here as well. This is so the ones who've gone, so Conte's gone, all right? Right, there's a lot of people leaving on high. So you got Conte gone. He could realistically come back into the Premier League. Spurs. That terrifies me. I'm genuinely terrified of that. I don't want Antonio Conte anywhere near the Premier League, because whoever he goes to, they're going to win a few things. You know,
Yeah.
he is the Mourinho of a decade ago. Like literally, I think the man's guaranteed success if you back him a bit. Galtieri, who's just left Lille after they've just stormed Ligue 1, and he's again the same. Gone. I've done my job here. Leaving. This is so rare that managers like are leaving on their own terms. Like this is so
It
unusual.
feels like they're all project managers. Like
yeah, it's a nice thing, and if they can't see themselves enjoying the next couple of years, they won't just stay on because it's worked before. I think that's quite interesting. So Zidane's gone again. I don't know what that man's about. Seems weird. Can't see him managing anywhere else.
Juve.
They could, but apparently they've got Allegri lined up to replace Pirlo. There's so much change. So much change. So the other ones have gone off to get.
I think Liam's a bit excited. I think there's a wet excited beneath Liam.
I want to be the Jim White of managers changing jobs.
I'd like to point out, Gillet and I have known Liam for years, and I've never seen him this excited.
Literally, I've known him since he was 10 years old. Like, yeah.
Or very.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
No,
keep going. Keep it spinning. I want to see this merry-go-round keep spinning. Come on.
So we've seen like obviously the Zidane's going to go. Like who jumps into the Madrid job? You know, could that also be Conte? Could it be? So Hansi Flick's left Bayern. Obviously, he's gone to take the German national team job. That leaves Joachim Löw open to do something. I can't imagine he'd go abroad. I reckon he'd probably want to stay in Germany somewhere, maybe take the Leipzig job. So those are the ones we definitely know are going. Like Nuno's going. I couldn't tell you, as we said earlier, who's going to go in there. Roy's gone. We speculated Frank Lampard, Sean Dyche. You know, you can do quite good on a budget. Palace have more money than Burnley. Could he be the one?
It is interesting with Dyche. It is interesting with Dyche because obviously Burnley have got new owners. Dyche was getting a bit aggy at the end of the start of the season about the lack of money spent. It'd be interesting to see what he gets promised because I could see him going. I mean, he gets linked to every club that's below Everton, basically, doesn't he? Whenever the manager goes, so he's got to go to one at some point, right?
Yeah, you'd imagine he'd have to. His sort of cycle there is done. He's done about 8 years. You know, sort of taking them up, got relegated, took them back up again, and completely solidified them for the past 6 years now. So, and then we got the ones who could be going. So we got Ryan Mason, who I think we all agree is going to be going. You know,
Ryan Mason's quality.
Yeah, well, you know, I imagine his furlough's over and he's got to go back to his real job now. So that's what's
the Make-A-Wish period is done.
I love the idea.
They need guys in marketing back, so that's like the main thing.
They need him at All Bar One in the city somewhere. Very, very soon.
He's definitely angling for a Brewdog job, isn't he?
God. He knew about Brewdog before it was famous. He knew it. Yeah. So we got him obviously going. Solskjaer, what do you think? He seems pretty solid because he's I
think he'll stay. They should get rid.
Yeah, and then Pochettino.
Wow,
there's rumblings that Spurs are trying to get him back, and they seem pretty solid actually. These talks are actually happening. So
yeah,
PSG would let him go without having someone else lined up. Maybe Zidane or something like that.
That's not a bad shout.
Maybe Zidane, maybe a Conte.
Yeah, there's some top managers knocking about. And then the ones who have arrived, which obviously I know you're very keen to know, the most exciting one. Slavica Jokanovic has joined Sheffield United.
Ooh.
As Paul Heckingbottom has left. You know, a memorable man, Paul Heckingbottom. I'm sure we all know him.
If you told me that was one of the teachers that went taught at our school, I'd be like, I actually don't remember him.
He was definitely a PE teacher. He definitely took your
Mr. Heckingbottom.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's proper sub PE teacher vibe from that. But with Jokanovic, so Sheffield United, I thought it was a big mistake getting rid of Wilder. Then we found out that Chris Wilder actually went, "I'm leaving, give me £2 million." And we was all like, that's not how it works, Chris. But,
he way to quit your job.
But Djukanovic has got like promotions with Watford and Fulham, and never really gets kept in a job, which is a bit unfair, I think. But and also, it's the first overseas manager that Sheffield United have ever had, apparently. So
Really,
which is a change in direction. You know, Yorkshire is thoroughly modern now. So I've heard
Metropolitan Sheffield.
Yeah, I've heard.
I
Good
believe
things.
they call it the Riviera down there.
Good style of football as well, though. Jukanovic, isn't he? Plays a good style of football. So
he does, they keep it on the ground. So yeah, interesting. Like a lot of interesting things happening this summer, and obviously there'll be like a manager at the Euros. You know, that's the guys managing like Croatia or Czech Republic, and we'll be like, oh my god, and they'll get a Premier League job because they end up being quality, and then they'll be found out that they're actually just really good at international football. So.
The one I'm interested to see what happens is Martinez after the Euros. It feels like he wants the Premier League media spotlight back on him, doesn't he?
Yeah, heavily linked with Spurs as well, wasn't he? So
yeah, that'd be interesting.
It wouldn't be my first pick, honestly, guys, but I'll take it.
Who would you want? Would it be Poch back?
I would want Conte, I think.
Okay.
I'd take Poch. I'd definitely take Poch, but I'd want Conte. I think Poch was a little bit burned there, and I think it's unfair to everyone for him to come back in these sort of circumstances, unless they're going to back him, which I'm never sure Levy will.
That's the thing. Like, he would come back unless he literally got like when Zidane returned to Madrid, and they're like, sorry, you were right. Have what you want. Yeah. So. I think if he did come back, there'd be a war chest, so to speak. But
is that where the war chest is going? There's always one team that has the war chest, isn't there, each summer?
And if Conte comes, you have to give him the money.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah, it's why he's left Inter Milan, right?
Yeah.
Oh, very exciting times.
So looking forward to Martinez being the manager next summer.
You out of breath, Liam? Are you okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm just excited, It's just so much going on.
I've never seen Liam this excited over a woman. Like, oh dear.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. We come back to the merry-go-round because I think it's gonna, like you said, there is actually this summer. There's going to be a lot, isn't there? There's going to be a lot of change.
Any like international tournament, there's always people come out of nowhere. Like even playing wise, there's always a few gems that no one's ever seen. It gets less and less because we see more football now, and we know. But there's always someone who turns up and becomes incredible. So it's interesting stuff ahead.
Did Turkey make the Euros?
Yeah.
Their first game.
They've got a very interesting squad.
Yeah. Well, they've got Yilmaz banging form, haven't they? And then they've got obviously Soyuncu and Kabak. But yeah, actually, speaking of international tournaments, see if I can do it. We'll quickly look at the England squad. Gareth Southgate has announced his provisional squad. He saw it extended. It was extended to 26, and he thought, "No, I need 33." So I'm not going to rattle off every player because that would be completely ridiculous. Couple of notable inclusions: Trent Alexander-Arnold is in. A couple of first-time call-ups of Ben White and Ben Godfrey. Saka's in there. Watkins is in there. Lingard has sneaked in as well. So it's looking like he's got to get rid of 7 that have got to go out, right? So actually, before we talk about who should go, are there any players that you think should have been in the mix that aren't in the mix, or have been very harsh or very unlucky to miss out?
I think personally, the ones that you'd feel a bit, that would probably maybe feel a bit angry, would be Tarkowski and Patrick Bamford. I don't think they'd be upset. I think actually Tarkowski's got, might be, because he's been in and around these England teams.
Yeah.
And then he picks White and Godfrey. And you think, none of them have been like, Godfrey's been pretty good this season.
I like Godfrey.
If in a Carlo Ancelotti team that's finishing 10th, you think, it's not been the best season, has it? Like, he's not been like absolutely stand out. So I think Tarkovsky will have a bit of a. It'd be a bit like what more can he do? Other than move to Crystal Palace with Sean Dyche and win the Europa Conference. Like that's literally like Bamford is unlucky. Like he assisted a lot. He's got more goals than Watkins. But it's about like we were talking earlier with the system that he plays in. He's perfect for that system. That's not what England are about. England, you need one replacement for Harry Kane if he gets injured, which is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Watkins is a different thing who may or may not go. But yeah, I think Tarkovsky and Bamford had a shout of being in it, but obviously they don't know.
Do they?
I really can't think of anyone. Like genuinely cannot think of anyone.
That's a good sign.
I mean, 33 players. How many? He could barely miss anyone out.
I mean, he's still.
That's half the Premier League.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has managed to miss out on Wan-Bissaka. I think is a bit hard done by, but he's just in the one position that we've got 17 world-class players, right?
Players, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any. I can't think of anybody. I think Bamford's the one, but different, like I said, different styles of play, and I think that's the good thing, though, and I think that's why I actually quite like the fact he's got Ben White in, because Ben White is very good at building the play from the back. That's what he's known for, right? So the expectation there is we're going to play possession-based football. Ben White's quite good at that. Seems like a good one to have in the what, the style of play or the player?
The player. Well, the style of play, because is Ben White like not one of the first ones on the chopping block?
He probably will be.
Yeah, him and Godfrey are in there because then they're just easy people to cull, but you can see them maybe in another future tournaments or something, isn't it?
Good for the training squad.
Yeah, obviously you got to remember is Maguire's 50-50 at the moment with that ankle injury. There's always a chance that one or two players will pick up an injury from the Champions League final, which we'll talk about in a bit. So there is always a chance that one of these players is going to sneak through. In terms of the ones the 7 that have to go, I mean, obviously from a goalkeeping perspective, is one of Sam Johnson and Ramsdale. I mean, has anybody got any strong views?
Ramsdale's got to go. I mean, they've been in teams in the same position. Johnston's been pulling off saves left, right, and centre. Everything that gets hit towards Ramsdale seems to go in this season. And I think it was the same last season at Bournemouth. I think.
Yeah. I'm getting rid of Ramsdale too. Yeah.
If it was actually the interesting thing with the goalkeepers, which I think we could probably talk about a bit more detail next week, but the fact that Pope is injured, it maybe takes a problem out of Southgate's hands. Maybe like less of a debate, I think, about whether it should be Pickford or not. But yeah, I probably agree with you actually thinking about it. The Ramsdale's probably the one to go. Defenders wise, yeah, it seems pretty obvious. It'll probably be White and Godfrey, right?
White and Godfrey, who I had down, and probably Trippier as well.
So we do have to get rid of one of these right backs, haven't we? Forgot about that.
I've literally written get rid of White, Godfrey, and written a right back.
Yeah.
And I've got. Why do you think Trippier?
I just don't see him play much. I think, despite what all of everyone's misgivings about Trent, you have to take Trent. It's just like a completely different option from right back, and like I'm not sure there's a player in the world who offers what he does from right back.
No.
And then who else have we got? What are the other options?
James and Walker.
Walker can play centre back and often does for Southgate, and then you need a second. And I like James. That's honestly the truth of it.
I like James, but I think James might miss out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
I think it's a close call between it's a close call between James and Trippier for me, but Trippier. Yeah. Why do you think James will miss out?
I think James will miss out. I think Trippier has been so good for Atletico this year, and he's left out Trent, and then Trent's, his form has been unbelievable, and like you said, he's proven like in these big games that he can do it. Like Reece James is very good, pretty consistent, but Trent's got that something extra, like going forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only thing that does actually work in James's favour recently, he's been playing actually as a centre back.
Well,
He's been playing in the three centre back positions. So
I think a lot of these players will need to be options, and that's why Kyle Walker's definitely in there, and it's possibly why Reece James stays in.
What about you, Adam? Who are you getting rid of?
One
right back must go.
Oh, I'm trying to work out a way to get rid of a midfielder so we could just have all 4 right backs, I think.
Well, you could play Trent in centre mid.
See, I know people have kicked off about this suggestion before, but you look at his ability and the way he can, especially when you see him attack for Liverpool, he actually goes into that almost right centre midfielder channel sometimes.
Like
an
inverted wing back here almost.
Yeah. And I just think... Sorry, go on.
No, I'm saying you could play James as well. He played centre mid for 2 seasons. Admittedly, it was League One, but
yeah.
I just feel a bit more excited about having Trent as an option midfield instead of like Ward-Prowse. Do you know what I mean?
Ward-Prowse though.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing is I think Trent's delivery is that good that even if you just have him on the bench with 10 minutes to go and you need, a free kick and corner taker, he could really magic something up.
Do you also not think like put Ward-Prowse in there as well? Just when you're in like a semi-final. Like I imagine it was with Trippier, like when he would score like a worldy free kick and like, some of the best in Europe would be like, who the fuck is this? What do you mean some guy from Southampton? He's been beaten 9-0 twice in the past 2 seasons and he's doing that against us.
It could be good just for the banter, won't it?
That's all it's for, isn't it, really?
I mean, so the thing is, I think looking at it, I think I would take Trippier out. But I think Southgate really does like him. So I've just got this feeling he's not going to take Trent. Not that I agree with it, but yeah.
The Trent one's a weird one to me.
Yeah. Midfield-wise, well, hang on. So we're getting rid of 3 defenders and we're getting rid of a goalkeeper. So that means we've got 3 left. There's not actually a lot of midfielders in the squad.
I was going to say there's like 5 midfielders in the squad, so I don't think we can get rid of many of them.
So you got Mount, Rice, Henderson, Bellingham, Phillips, Lingard, and Ward-Prowse. I think Lingard will probably miss out.
I also think Lingard will probably go, unfortunately.
And I think the other position completely depends on Calvin Phillips' shoulder because he got injured in the last minute of the last game of the season, hurt his shoulder, which he's done before. I think he did it in December or something like that. So
what
I
are
guess
we up to now? Are we up to 6 players then?
Yeah. So I think if Phillips' shoulder's not right, then Ward-Prowse will stay in. I think
I've got one last player.
Okay.
I think you have to get rid of Saka.
Saka. Okay.
I think you have to get rid of Saka.
Lim?
I think there's too many good wings.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard, isn't it? I don't envy the man. Like they've even been given like 3 more than you normally would, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I think I was thinking Watkins, but then I was like, oh, Saka's there. Very good.
Well, Watkins was high up my list. Watkins would probably have gone instead of Lingard for me.
Yeah, Lingard goes because, like you said, we've only got a few midfielders, and if you're banking on one of the, Ward-Prowse can play centre mid, Mount at a push can play centre mid. You wouldn't fancy Lingard in a 2 in the middle, would you? Like it would.
No.
And for pushing forward, if we've got like little meandering players, you've got Foden. And as good as Lingard's been form-wise, Foden looks the absolute business, doesn't he? So it's too hard. I'll get rid of Saka.
I'd get rid of Saka personally, but Saka's like pretty much dead. Yeah, bang on for me to.
When they go, when they go, it's the problem that you always want.
Is it really?
No, thanks. I want the exact. I think I might have said this before, but I want the exact number of players that fit the squad that I need to fill. I don't want this
26 quality players, and then I want everyone to be like League One level.
Exactly. I want 2 11s plus 4 blokes that are really versatile. Done. Like I don't want this problem where I've got 7 right backs to choose from.
Also,
imagine being Scottish. Jesus.
Just left backs in the centre mid.
Yeah.
You imagine, because especially on that Scottish angle, quite a small population. So you just want a team of players that can do a good job, right? And then you go, oh, we've got 2 world-class players. Great. What positions do they play? They both play left back. Do you know what I mean?
It's so good. Like, what position? Left back is clearly an important position, but if your impact player, would you go the left back at, please?
And also the way they play as well, like whenever they set up, they can't get it right. So either they play Robertson at left back and they have Tierney as the centre back, and it's not quite good enough, or they play Robertson left wing and have Tierney as left back, but Robertson's not quite good enough. It's. I mean, they're going to score against us now, aren't they? So.
Hopefully.
The thing is, they just both want to overlap each other. So they're just going to keep running around the outside of each other.
Yeah.
Just running in circles.
I'm in.
So you could have the highest sleeves or the highest short line. Like,
in my dastardly plan here, Saka gets cut from the squad and declares for Nigeria. A load of players follow him.
That's a long game. That's a long-term game. I like it. Okay. So I think we got there. I think we basically made a decision a lot quicker than Southgate's going to make it.
Oh, did you guys have one more player? Because I think we were up to 6. I said Saka, but like,
I think I said no. I think I agree with you. I think Saka.
So we're kicking Phillips out as well.
Well, no, I'm saying Phillips stays unless his shoulders fucked and Ward-Prowse has to be in.
Oh, you're getting rid of Ward-Prowse. There's always such an anti-Saints bias, Adam.
No, because it's you hang on, be careful here. It says one of the goalkeepers, Godfrey White, that's 3.
Yeah.
One of the right backs,
yep,
that's 4.
4. Then I said
Lingard.
Lingard. Then one of the other midfielders, which is either Phillips or Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
And then Saka.
Oh, okay.
But there's suggestions that actually it could be 2 of the forwards that go and Ward-Prowse stays. If you see what I mean, even if Phillips is fit.
Yeah. I think Bellingham has to play, doesn't he? Like, we've not even mentioned him not being in it.
Yeah.
No.
Even if it's just how he conducts his interviews.
I think
just for that,
keep Lingard in, weirdly.
Oh, okay.
And I get rid of like Ollie Watkins. He's not going to play any games.
He was high up your thing a minute ago.
Oh, he's just not going to play any games. I don't know. This is confusing.
Yeah.
There's too many players.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching the England selectors meeting live.
Can I just get? It's annoying you have to actually pick 3 keepers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got Warnock it by like only having 1 keeper and no one else.
So is this the rule? Do you have to pick 3 keepers?
Yeah, 3 of them have to be actual goalkeepers. Right. Not people who can play in goal.
Who looks? Oh, they have to be actual goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, who looks like they could do a job in goal?
Well, it'd be Carl Walker, wouldn't it?
Carl Walker, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But Harry Kane's been in goal as well, isn't he? For Spurs, I remember. Yeah. Okay. So because we can't get rid of a goalkeeper, it's So I think we're there. It's Saka's probably going to go, and it's between Watkins and Lingard, I think, by the scenes of it, right?
Yeah. Let's just thank the Lord that he hasn't even put Dyer in his bloody 33.
So I actually have a theory on this, that because the squad's bigger, that's why Dyer's not in, because you don't need as many versatile players.
Yeah, I saw that once, and I didn't come across, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? You have like specialists rather than jack of all trades.
Exactly, because otherwise you would be looking at more of those. Those centre half, centre midfielders, and the wing backs that can maybe plan, that sort of thing. Like maybe, if it was a smaller squad, you could argue Saka might have had a shout because he can play left back and left wing and right wing as well, right? I mean,
it's funny though. England has loads of those players, regardless. Like someone like Declan Rice or like Sancho will play anywhere. Like it's a really good squad. It's a shame they're going to go out in the first knockout.
Don't. I mean, we'll go fully into Euros next week, but I think the key difference I am more optimistic now from seeing the impact to the fans in the home games in the Premier League. because you saw even like Sheffield United's and stuff that the home crowd really did make a difference. Like everybody was fully pumped, and even watching like the Championship playoffs and stuff, like the home games really, the fans were pushing the teams on a bit more and stuff, and that is why I genuinely believe it's coming home.
Gareth Southgate, come on the show. Actually, on my way back from work today, I saw 2 people at Euston Station taking a picture with Jamie Carragher.
Oh, Carragher was in.
Yeah,
Did you not try and get him on the show?
No, I didn't want him. I don't want him on the show. He's a miserable bastard, isn't he?
Fair.
He'd make my shed even more gloomy.
Oh my god, that would be absolutely mind blowing if we just did the stream with you for like 50 minutes and you turned the camera and Carragher was just sat on the sofa.
Yeah, Carragher's replaced Aaron by bringing you McDonald's.
To be fair, now I feel like I should have asked him. I was like, I've got a football stream in 15 minutes, but mate, do you want to come on a weird football stream with me and my mates?
Have you got a great?
You would look great. How cool would you look like as a professional football pundit and an ex-player if you just turned up in someone's shed and talked about football with 3 boys?
Oh, we could almost go viral then.
Mm-hmm. Do we know any football? Glenn Johnson.
Yeah.
Glenn Johnson, come on the show.
I am very good friends with Glenn Johnson.
This is when the Glenn Johnson plug works.
Yeah. Go on, tell him. Come on, Glenn, tell him that darts anecdote we had.
Glenn Johnson, tell us about right backs, please.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an argument if we could get him on for Glenn's right back feature,
Glenn's right backs.
Oh no, right at the back with Glenn Johnson.
Oh,
professional presenter Adam. Not gonna say your surname. No one's watching, but we're not gonna start doing that.
Oh man. Oh, imagine that. We've got Liam. We hop on Liam's managerial merry-go-round and then we go to right at the back with Glenn Johnson. Probably this is great.
It's on brand.
It's very on brand, isn't it? You can't really go. We're now gonna go to centre at the back with it's not really gonna work, is it? Right, let's move on to the Champions League final because that little thing's happening this weekend. Man City against. Yeah, I know, right? Man City against Chelsea. 2 questions for you, Liam.
Yes.
One, actually, no. Well, the second one will be how are you feeling about the game in terms of tactics, and do you believe it can happen? And the first question is, are you more stressed about the fact you can't find somewhere to watch the game?
Yeah, I know. I can find somewhere to watch it, but it revolves around me going into a pub near me and then being like, "Oh, you're all right. We'll work something out for you." But these places not actually taking bookings, and the places that do take bookings. I'm on a red list. I don't know why. No one calls you back. No one. You ring them and they go, "Yeah, we'll call you back. Leave a number." No. You email. You sign up to everything you can. O'Neill's, Green King. No. Nothing.
I love the idea that that's just going to come up in his inbox every now and again.
Yeah.
So it's just
I'm actually looking forward to when he checks his inbox tomorrow and he's actually booked 15 tables all around London.
Yeah. One place was like, "Oh, we might have a cancellation if you call up at 8 o'clock later, and then we'll take a £60 per head." And I was like, "No."
Wow.
Yeah.
60 the Queen's English.
How many pints do they expect you to drink?
Well, it's tenner a pint, isn't it? Probably.
Well, one place was like, "Yeah, we're charging entry," and I was like, "You are joking." I was like, "I wish you went under."
I hate London sometimes. I genuinely hate London sometimes.
You're more than welcome to come out to the Garden of England and watch it in a pub with about 3 other people.
Yeah, I hate that more.
Okay, fair enough. I was just going off proud.
Somehow I'll end up finding the only pub in Kent that's got Man City fans in it.
I don't get racially abused in London, Adam. Thank you.
Oh. So, yeah. Imagine me going to your Liam I found this pub. Oh crap! It's the City pub of
City Supporters Club. What you mean, Dartford Conservative Club?
Oh god, no, they're very much Chelsea fans, I imagine. Not to the ones I want to watch the game with.
On a footballing front, Liam, though, how do you feel about the game? Are you? Yeah, I'm interested to see. But you've beaten Chelsea twice this season, right? So you should be pretty confident.
Yeah, but that's also that worries me as well. How many times can you do that in a season? How many times can you beat Man City? It'll be interesting. I reckon it'll be a nice tactical. Might not even be too cagey, but you'll definitely see. As much as people push on to these ideas of it's going to be a tactical masterclass. Someone will be like, "That's just boring, isn't it?" Yeah. I don't know, and it may be, but I think it could be quite an interesting game. I absolutely hate the fact that Instagram does that now. They automatically have the sound on.
It wasn't actually Instagram, but
I just think it's going to be I don't want to say too much about it because it's just anything I say, I will tempt fate and I will hate myself. So
fair enough.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game. I think if Man City play at their best, Chelsea won't win. I think if Chelsea play at their best, they have a chance of winning. And that's my view.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah, very well. That was great, Liam.
Completely agree with that.
Do you know what your thoughts actually, as in terms of have you got anything that you're interested to see, or are you do you think that Pep's going to overthink it?
I want to see Pep start Sergio Aguero in a moment of just sentimentality and lose the game.
Well, we haven't actually chatted about Sergio's send-off, have we? Where Pep had a complete breakdown on Sky Sports, just saying he's irreplaceable and he's so happy for him, and started crying about saying he's so lovely. So
why don't you keep him then? I don't know. I'm just me.
I mean, Pep's done more batshit things, right, than start Aguero. I mean, it's not as if you're starting Edison up front, is it?
It's not.
He's done some crazy things, but he will not be starting Sergio Aguero up front. That would be the maddest thing he's done this season.
It would be, wouldn't it? But he's proven that you don't need strikers now, except when he buys Harry Kane this summer. But it's proven that you don't need strikers now, and so I mean, it is weird that he's just got Gabriel Jesus and Aguero sitting on the bench, but not bad options, especially in a Champions League final, right?
No, they've got such players, haven't they? Such players they got.
He looks miserable already. I can't wait to call him at 10 o'clock on Saturday night.
So one thing I'm actually not looking forward to is every single broadcaster and sort of publication talking about the infamous meeting between Pep and Tuchel in this restaurant where they just moved salt and pepper shakers around to talk tactics. Because it was a story, it's a nice story, but I mean, this story is going to be everywhere, and they're just going to be asked about it all the time. And they'll probably, I bet they'll have the restaurant owner on a feed for sure. So if you remember it,
I've been working with special needs kids all week, and I think I saw a similar scene.
What tactics?
Oh, just people moving salt and pepper shakers around and trying to have a conversation.
Oh my god! You know what? You said you wanted to see me ring me up or see me sad on at 10 o'clock. I'll tell you what the grimmest thing is: watching your team lose, losing to Leicester City in the FA Cup final, where you're standing outside in the pissing rain in a coat with a pint of Coors, staring at a screen, sitting there going, "This can't."
So you're telling me you're going to be all right?
No.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, I've scaled these depths.
Fantastic.
And you're willing to be there for that chance of victory.
Ad, what do you reckon about this game? Got any shouts?
I mean, Kante is going to be so important in this game, isn't he? He's going to be so important.
Need to do the work of three men.
He's got to be either side of Jorginho and in front of him.
Jorginho.
I see. The thing is, I think Jorginho against a team like City, I think he normally actually turns up. It's normally It's normally the mid-table teams where he's probably tiny bit more relaxed. He makes the mistakes. Oh, but I think if Kante's not fully fit and he can't be the incredible force that he is, I think that will be the difference. Obviously, I'm sure Chelsea will create chances because they've been creating chances in every game. They just can't put the thing in the onion bag. But yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised. Again, ready for the narrative.
Can they come on the show?
Ready for the narrative. I wouldn't be surprised if Timo scores the winner.
Oh.
Just for the complete craziness of really he's marginally onside. So he scored because he's scored loads of goals that he's been offside on. So he scores one, is given offside, and then he's actually on.
Take it back to VAR.
Yeah.
For
Crowds
20 minutes.
Yeah, and the crowd go wild, and Timo scored in with 10 minutes to go. So I really wouldn't be surprised about that. But yeah, I my heart just for that sort of. I'm sort of swayed to wanting Chelsea to win, even though it would be funny to watch Liam sad. But I still got this feeling that Pep's going to overthink it. I think Pep's going to overthink it. So I'm going to go for Chelsea 2-1.
I don't actually want to see Liam sad. It's just pretty inevitable to me. And I'm going to go for City 3-1.
Ooh.
I reckon 2-1 up until the last, and then Chelsea really go for it, and then they hit them on the break, something like that.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see both things happening. It's just in my mind, just to keep it safe, 1-1 extra time. Christ knows. I think it may go beyond the 90.
Trust me, you don't want to go. I mean, after watching that monstrosity last night, you don't want to go beyond 90. I mean, I'm sure it'd be a more entertaining game than that, whatever that was last night. But
someone might actually do a movement in the attacking third.
Actually, that's a good point. In your game, people will do a movement, and I'm sure and these managers aren't afraid to substitute players, which is quite nice. It'd be nice to see different things happen.
Yeah, but we have players that don't come off for substitutions.
That is very true. That is very true.
If you had Kepa instead of David De Gea, he'd have been making the subs. Ollie wouldn't know what's going on. I think it could be a bit of a cracker. And hopefully a good finish to the domestic season.
Actually, one point I wanted to make, just because I noticed it from the final last night, was obviously De Gea had the penalty takers hidden in his towel, right? So where do you think the Chelsea and City keepers are going to hide the penalty takers? Because all of them hide it somewhere, don't they?
Water bowls are classic.
Okay. Anything extravagant, Jide? Do you think maybe a fake bit of AstroTurf that they hide it under or something like that?
Start wearing bum bags like NFL quarterbacks wear.
Yeah. Okay. To get those in, to keep their hands warm.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
That's what I'd like.
Oh, I've just realised we haven't gone to the most important question, which we haven't chatted about for a while, is managerial attire. This is the moment for managers to shine, isn't it?
You know what's funny? I did not have a managerial attire thing, but I do have a weird fashion and football story.
Oh, go on.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Island are going to be the first fashion company to own a football club. They're going to own Medina.
Yes, I saw
which is really cool.
Really?
And it's actually really cool to me because Stone Island obviously have a traditional cultural link with football. Not the nicest of links, but it's very cool. Yeah, that's all I had to say on that.
Does that mean they're going to have Stone Island?
They may well have a Stone Island badge on the side of the kit.
Isn't it it's a company that owns Stone Island, isn't it? But I think
so. Canada Goose, no, was it Canada Goose or Montclair? One of the two companies just bought Stone Island. So both, but as part of the deal, Sergio, who's the guy who runs Stone Island, owns Stone Island from the beginning, got a load of shares in their company. But Stone Island, the first place they produced clothing was also a town just outside of Medina. So it's loads of cultural links to the city, and it's really cool.
Amazing.
Everyone wants to see the kit.
Yeah, it'll be great. Reflect, thermoreactive material, like a little Stone Island ghost badge. Yeah. I'm into it.
Well, instead of having a collar, it's just a little they have in Parkers. The furry bit on the top of Parkers.
a hood with goggles.
Oh my god!
Loads of
Imagine if they, when they come out, when they come out for biggish games, they sometimes wear like a special tracksuit jacket or something. Imagine if they come out,
tracky would be amazing.
Stoneline tracky, or they come out in like a Liam Gallagher sort of like Parker. They sort of like walk out, they sort of like Reigns type jackets. That'd be great.
They have the best kits of next season.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. And do we think Pep's going to go all out fashion, or do you think he's going to wear that silly grey hoodie?
I think he's going to make a point of it. He's going to be like a grey hoodie, or just like I've been thinking about the game so much, and then like fuck it up.
I just want the players to enjoy it. I just want them to enjoy it, so I'm going to enjoy it because I'm in a hoodie.
Thomas Tuchel, full Chelsea megastore robbing.
He is, isn't he? He is.
That man he's like, he wanted to become a football manager because he didn't want to buy clothes.
I think he wears the cap that like kids wear on non-school uniform day, like that one Chelsea cap from the Chelsea megastore as well. Like it's not.
It's such a good point. He's like, like some people, like obviously are sort of an influencer type level. They're allowed to go around the store and they can pick whatever they want, right? They normally pick 1 or 2 items. He's gone into that store and got, I can pick anything. I'll take everything.
He went into the changing room and like put everything on and went, I'll take it. Thank you.
I think I remember this correctly. He had his like leg broken, didn't he, when he was PSG manager in the final?
Yeah,
he wore a suit then, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's a superstitious person, but he wasn't properly kitted out for the FA Cup. As all the old men in football, the football men, going, blah, blah, ain't right,
The real football geezers, you mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe a cardigan. That's more pep, isn't it?
Yeah, Cardi's very pep for this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, now I just can't. I can't get out of my head. Thomas Tuchel just walking around a megastore going, "Oh, I love that. I'll take the alarm clock."
He's got a spare shirt though. He's got like a Chelsea kit from like a couple of years back with Bakayoko on the back. Like, yeah, that's my size. I love that.
He goes on holiday. He's wearing like a Chelsea dress shirt, some goalkeeper shorts, and a pair of like flip flops. Chelsea flip flops.
It'll be really cliche as well because obviously he's German, so he'll be the first one out to the sunbed. So he'll have the Chelsea towel out. Lay that out. Oh, amazing! This is great. Chelsea wash bag.
Obviously.
Oh, amazing!
He's like, actually, have you got any old stock? Just bring it through. Like, show me all.
Got the old score draw 1970. FA Cup one. Oh man,
that's great.
Exciting times.
I'm looking forward to. I'm actually looking forward to that more than the game now to see which megastore bits Tommy's going to wear. But yeah, I think that's it. Unless you guys got anything else to chip in on head of the Champions League.
Go football.
I love football.
Football will be the winner.
I love football, mate.
You know what? Football actually, for once, might be the winner. Wasn't yesterday.
It's great. It's great because it proves that like money does not win football games anymore.
Exactly, yeah.
European Super League.
Fight the power and all that, yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks for watching, and we will be back next week to chat. Well, we'll hop on the managerial merry-go-round again. We'll hopefully have Liam in an all right state, either way from an extreme high or an extreme low. And we'll look ahead to the Euros. So we'll see you 7:00 next week.